Okay guys, what I'm going to do today is give you a quick overview of exercise 1 in Weingreen. This is the vocabulary related to your quiz, which will be due on Monday. I want to focus today on the pronunciation, as well as then giving you a little bit of an overview of how the words are formed and what we're looking at in terms of verbs and prepositions and so forth. So first, let's start with this word top left. Pronunciation is bara, bara. Notice the dot, the dagesh leni in the middle of the first letter, which is bait. Thus, that's going to be a hard sound. Ba, ra. Amar, amar. Remember that the aleph is going to largely be silent. Amar. Ba, ba. El, el. And remember that the sagol is going to have the same kind of sound as if we're saying the word bed or something like that. Excuse, I don't have my typical stylus today, so I'm having to use the regular cursor on my computer. But that's going to be the sound bed. The next one is men. And remember the hirik here is the short I sound. In Hebrew, it's the short I sound. And it's going to be similar to the I in lid, lid. So men, men. Here we have the vav, and directly underneath the vav we have the two dots, and that is, to remind you, that is the simple shava. And the pronunciation of the simple shava is that's the sound So when you take the va and the you get v, v. This is always the conjunction and, or some version of translating and. Notice here we have the word ear. And the first letter is ayin. Ayin is going to also be largely silent in our form of pronunciation. Originally, both the ayin and the aleph would have had more of a vocalized guttural sound, but they have, for all practical purposes, completely lost their vocalization. So for our purposes today, we're going to just consider them to be silent. Hirik yod, that has the long E sound, like the double E in sheet, sheet. So we have ear. Next word is Elohim. It's a word you already know. We've pronounced it quite a bit. I do want to mention, though, that we do have the composite sagol here. The chatif sagol is a technical term for it. But this is the composite vowel. It's going to be a half value of the sagol, basically, is what we're attempting to recreate. Afar, afar. And the ayin again is going to be silent. Notice there is no dot in the middle of the pei, thus it's going to be the F sound. Here's an interesting word, choshek. This is interesting because note that there's an accent mark on the very first syllable, cho, and then notice that the sheen has a dot here, which obviously indicates the sheen. But in this case, obviously, there has to be a vowel in that syllable somewhere. That dot serves double purpose, and so that is the defective holum, choshek. The two dots at the end of the word in the kaf final form, those are the terminus, what I call the terminus shava, which basically means that the syllable ends, as well as in this case the word ends. This only time you'll find this when it is at the end of the word. Rosh, rosh, and notice the dot above the aleph. That's also going to be our defective holum, and then we have the sheen. Hekal, hekal. Notice here we have the sarei yod. That's this vowel, the sarei yod. And that is very similar. In fact, it's the same as the sound of the simple sarei. But the yod here serves more as a vowel letter to let us know, in fact, that that is either I class or, in this case, going to be the E class. And here we have the comments. Hekal. Melech. Notice we have two segols here. This is called a segolit noun when you have double segols. And the accent is on the first syllable. Melech. Yom, a word that you have already been introduced to. Very common word. Yom, full holum, final mem. Of course, the yod at the beginning. Accent here is on the first syllable. La yala. This is important because notice that this is a patak. This vowel is a short vowel. Typically, short vowels cannot stand alone in an open syllable. But because we have an accent, This patak can stand alone in the open syllable, which means that this shiva is a vocalized shiva. It is not the end of a syllable and thus silent. In fact, it is the beginning of the next syllable, la yala, la yala. Or, the word for light, note the full cholim, adam, note the final mem, two kamates, aleph again is silent, adam, adama, adama. Notice here we have again a composite vowel. This is the chatif patach, and half value for, in fact, then the patach. So let's just pronounce these. I'll give you a little bit of time after each one to pronounce them. Bara, amar, ba, el, men, va, ir, Elohim, afar, choshek, rosh, hekal, melek, yom, layla, or, adam, adama, adama. And one more time. Bara, amar, ba, il, men, the, ir, Elohim, afar, choshek, rosh, hekal, melek, yom, layla, or, adam, adama, adama. One last comment about the words. We are now introduced in these first three words to verb forms. The remainder of these words are either nouns or, in some cases, obviously prepositions or a conjunction. But the verb form, as we find here, this is the typical way that the root of the verb form is presented. That form is the simplest form, and thus also doubles as the third masculine singular conjugation. So thus, not only does this mean to create, but it means he created. The same is going to be true with amar. This is the, if you look up in the dictionary, this is the root form whereby you will find it in the dictionary. So it means to say, but in this case it's also going to mean he said. Third masculine singular. This one's going to be a little bit different because the root form actually found in the dictionary is going to be slightly different than this. However, this is the simplest form of the conjugation, and it is the third masculine singular. He came. All right, I think that'll give you enough that you need for the vocabulary quiz for next week. So I hope this is a little bit helpful to you, helping you to do the pronunciation as well as becoming familiar with the words themselves. So we'll see you at the next class.